Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the showdown slate for Thursday Night Football. I did not make a showdown video for last Thursday Night Football. Kind of procrastinated. That was definitely on my part. I was just kind of lazy. Trying to get more showdown videos out for you guys. So, got a game on Thursday between the Raiders and the 49ers. Not the most exciting game, but there's definitely money out there to win. So, we're going to talk about this showdown slate, the players I feel like we want to roster, how we want to construct our lineups. Maybe for a cash game, how we'd build a lineup, and then for a tournament, how we'd get a little contrarian and build our lineup. But before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. It really does mean a lot. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe down below. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. I would appreciate it. You won't miss out on any of my new videos if you do subscribe and turn on notifications. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at this showdown slate. So we do have Derek Carr as the most expensive option. He's $11K if you play him in your flex. In captain, he's $16.5. Derek Carr definitely captain worthy on this slate. There really aren't a ton of good options. These just two teams are not very good football teams and just don't have a lot of good fantasy relevant players. But Derek Carr's probably going to have to throw the ball 35, 40 times. So he's definitely in play for me. We look at last game against the Colts, threw the ball only 28 times, but was very efficient. 75% completion percentage, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns. The 49ers defense, the Raiders defense, both of these team defenses are not very good. So we might actually see some points here. Even though these two teams have bad offenses, they don't really have good defenses either. So Derek Carr, I could easily see him throwing for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. So I do like him in your captain spot. On the other side, as a pass-catching guy from the 49ers, George Kittle, just the number one guy when it comes to pass-catching options for the 49ers. Beathard looks his way a ton. He's pretty much the most consistent option you can rely on from the 49ers, especially when it comes to targets. Last 4 weeks, 7, 6, 8, and 8 targets, 13, 7, 20, and 10 DraftKings points. Kittle could easily go for 5 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown, and that's 17 DraftKings points right there. So I think he is also captain worthy. You do get $3,000 in savings if you play Kittle instead of Carr in your captain spot. So I do like Kittle a ton. And then trying to find someone to pair Derek Carr with. I think Jordy Nelson really sticks out. He just seems like the most reliable option that the Raiders have. Even though LaFell put up some decent numbers last week, they do have Seth Roberts as well. I feel like Nelson's probably the most just reliable option, like I said. We can probably pencil him in for at least 4 to 6 targets. Could definitely see 7, possibly 8 targets. I know Nelson's not been like a fantasy viable option all year, but this is a one-game showdown slate. We don't have a ton of players to choose from, so I do like Jordy Nelson, pairing him with Derek Carr. I feel like I'm gonna have these 3 guys in a lot of my lineups for this showdown slate. I'm not playing as heavy as I was to begin the year, especially now the NBA has started, and especially with how bad this game is. But I'll still be playing a few lineups, and I'll definitely have Carr, Kittle, and Nelson in plenty of them. But now let's talk about some of the other players in the player pool. So CJ Beathard is $1,200 less than Derek Carr. I'd rather just play Derek Carr, but if you need the savings, I think Beathard's a fine option, but I feel like Carr most likely will outscore him. Choosing between Kittle and Cook, my preferred option is Kittle, but if you want to play Cook, I could see doing that. I could see playing both guys in the same lineup because, Cook's probably the number one option as well when it comes to pass catching for the Raiders. If we look at his targets last few weeks, pretty reliable. 13 targets against Cleveland I think was a bit of an outlier, but 6 targets, 2 targets, 5 targets. We know he's going to look to him when they get in the red zone. Did score a touchdown last week. 2 touchdowns in that game against Cleveland. Like I said, I'd play Kittle over Cook, but Cook's definitely an option if you do want to go to him. Talking about the running backs from either team, so Matt Breida is $8,600. He's listed as questionable. He was a limited participant in Tuesday's walkthrough. If there's a chance he doesn't miss, then we can talk about Raheem Mostert. I think that's how you say his name. He could be a really good option at $4,600. But Breida, I don't feel like I'm going to be playing here. I do like Doug Martin, though. Doug Martin's only $6,400. He got 15 touches last week, 13 carries, 2 catches, 9.9 DK points. They did get Jalen Richard involved a lot, especially in the passing game. If the Raiders are playing from ahead, they're probably going to have Martin on the field carrying the ball a lot. If they're playing from behind, you'll probably see Jalen Richard in there catching some passes. So it's kind of pick your preference. If you think the Raiders are trailing, I'd say go with Richard at $7,800 because if we look at his targets, he only got 2 carries but did get 8 targets, 8 catches for 50 yards. And as you can see, the Raiders lost that game by 14 points. They were trailing. So if you feel like the Raiders are going to be trailing here, I'd say go with Richard. If you feel like they're going to be playing from ahead, then definitely go with Doug Martin, because Doug Martin's the guy they're going to have on the field if they're playing from ahead. But now talking about some of the other receivers. So you have Marquise Goodwin, 8,400. Definitely has some big play ability. He only had 1 catch last week, but it was a 55-yard touchdown. Goodwin has that kind of big play ability. 1 catch, 60-yard touchdown could be all that Goodwin needs. I like him at 8,400. He might not be like the most safe option. I'd rather play Kittle, definitely. But Goodwin as a tournament play with his big play potential and that big play upside, I think he's for sure an option. I'm trying to find value, so Seth Roberts put up a pretty solid game last week. 4 targets, 2 catches, 42 yards, and a touchdown. I think I'd rather get up to Jordy Nelson and play him over Seth Roberts. Brandon LaFell's $400 cheaper. He also got some looks last week, 4 targets, 3 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown. If I had to choose, obviously I'd rather get up to Jordy, but if I had to choose between Roberts and LaFell, I think I'd definitely go with Roberts at 5,800. Martavis Bryant was a guy a lot of people were on last week, including myself. He was playing a ton, or he was getting, I wouldn't say he was playing a ton, but he was playing pretty decent snaps when Amari Cooper was there. When Amari Cooper left, I figured the snaps from Martavis would increase even more, and that actually did the opposite. So Amari Cooper left, and Martavis played less snaps. He only played 7 snaps last week, didn't draw a target. I'm sure since we all played him last week, this will be the game where he goes off, but I just can't do it. He's 3K, so he is cheap. We know Martavis has that big play upside, but only playing 7 snaps last week really concerns me. If they're going to play LaFell, play Seth Roberts over him, then I'll probably just have to avoid Martavis all in general. There really isn't a lot of value that I like cheap plays. I really don't think we're going to need cheap plays because there aren't any stud guys. Carr's your most expensive at 11K, then it's Beathard at 9,800. It's not like we've got Aaron Rodgers at 16K on this slate or something to where we need value. The cheapest guy I'd probably go to would be Martavis, take a flyer on him, or play one of the defenses. Alfred Morris I'll probably be avoiding. Dante Pettis, I don't see myself playing him. Uzchek, I don't think I'm going to be on him. So go to the defenses if you need cheap options. You got the kickers as well. If you want to take a flyer on Martavis and pray he catches a long touchdown or he's just on the field more than he was last week, you could do that. But I'll probably be avoiding Martavis on this slate. So talking about roster construction, for captain, I think your most optimal plays for captain are probably Carr, Beathard, or Kittle. If we try and go with Carr at captain, we'll see how we can build a lineup around that. So we're definitely going to need value if we want to go with Carr. So we could pair him with Jordy Nelson at 7,600. Maybe play Doug Martin as well, or Jalen Richard. We'll go with Martin since he's cheaper, 6,400. I'd say you probably could play one of the kickers in cash on this slate, so we'll just go with Robbie Gould at 3,600. Then we could probably get up to Kittle. If we put in Kittle at 9K, that'd leave us 6,900. We can't get to Richard. I want to see if there's a way we could play both quarterbacks together. So let's see if we did that. I definitely want Beathard and Kittle, a stack there with Derek Carr. If we played Doug Martin, let's see if we could get a cheaper pass catcher. So we couldn't get to LaFell doing that. Let's see here. Take out Doug Martin. That leaves us 55-50 for 2 spots. If there's a chance that Breida isn't able to play, then Moser at 4,600, you could do that. That'd leave you enough for Doug Martin, but I feel like Breida's probably going to play. But that's definitely a way you could go. If you want to fit in Seth Roberts, you could do that. That'll leave you 4,800, so then you could play Pierre Garçon. I think that's for sure a way you could go on this showdown slate. Or that's a way that makes sense. Play Carr in your captain, and then on the other side, play Beathard, Kittle, stack Carr with one of his pass catchers. Probably going to have to be a cheaper one, so Seth Roberts, then Garçon, Gold. I could see doing that in a cash game for tournaments if we want to try jam in the studs or the top guys, I guess I should say. Looking for maybe a cheaper captain that we could consider. Doesn't necessarily have to be the high scoring player, but for example, say Derek Carr scores 20 points. If we can get 15 points from one of these cheaper options, then they could definitely be the best captain play. So let's see if we could go. Let's just try Doug Martin at 9,600 in our captain spot. Then we could probably play Carr, Beathard, play Kittle, don't think we could play Jared Cook. That wouldn't be we wouldn't have enough salary. But if we tried Jordy Nelson, that'd leave us $3K. And then you could take Martavis at $3K if you wanted to do that. So you could go Martin, Carr, Beathard, Kittle, Nelson, Martavis. Let's see if we got off of Jordy, went to a cheaper wide receiver. If we went to Seth Roberts, that would leave us enough for Garcon, so you could do that. So I think that's a way you could construct your lineup as well. Pretty much the same lineup we had, except I think there's a few things different. Obviously, we don't have Carr in our captain spot. We got rid of the kicker, so we pretty much got, instead of Carr and captain and a kicker, we went with Doug Martin and captain and Pierre Garcon, I think, or Seth Roberts. So that's a 2v2 you can decide on. I like this side. I like this lineup quite a bit. As long as Doug Martin can at least put up like double-digit points, he could definitely be captain worthy, especially since he's a lot cheaper than the other captains on the slate. But I think that is it for the Showdown slate, guys. It's kind of hard to talk about this game because there just aren't a lot of good plays. Right now I'm recording and it's 11 minutes long, so I feel like we got a good, or at least enough information, enough analysis in this video to where it was worth your time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't liked the video or subscribed yet, make sure you do both. Follow me on Twitter if you want to. My Twitter is @thedfs_goat. If you ever have questions, you can always hit me up on Twitter, or you can leave anything down in the comment section below. But I think that's it, guys. Good luck tonight, or good luck Thursday on this Showdown slate, and we will see you back again in my next video. Peace.